Think like a boxer. When it comes to your life, you gotta have the mindset of a fighter. If you ever paid attention to a boxer and the regiment they go through when it's time for a fight, they go through so many principles of success that if we apply those same principles in our life every day, it ain't no telling where we might be. Let's talk about it. The first thing that a boxer always starts with is a plan. The first day of training camp, they going into training camp with a plan. They know how they gonna fight their next fight. Some ain't no fights the same. Some fights they might work the jab. Some fights they might work the body. Some fights they might just rush in and go straight for the knockout. But regardless of the fight, they go into that fight with a plan. And that's the same way we gotta be with life. We can't go every day through life without a plan. We gotta have a set of goals. We gotta know what we trying to do, what we trying to accomplish, and how we gonna get there. And we gotta stick to that plan. If you ain't planning out your daily activities, your monthly activities, your yearly activities, then you doing yourself a disservice. You can't get nowhere unless you got a plan and you plan on sticking to that plan. Number two, what a boxer always do. What a boxer got to do with a plan. Now it's time to get in the gym and it's time to train. And what training is basically working. They training for from sun up to sundown, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 7 days a week. 2 to 3 months straight. 4 to 5 months straight. It depending on how big the fight is and it depending on how much they focus and locked in. But they training. They not just planning for a fight and thinking that they got to fight 3 months from now, so they ain't got to train but a week before the fight and they'll be okay. No, they start training immediately. And that's the same thing with us. When we get our plan, instead of training, we got to go to work. And we got to start working on our plan. And we got to start moving into action. Because if we not working and we not moving that plan into action, then we'll never see the end of it. And if we not working, then how do we plan on our plan coming to fruition if we just sitting around just waiting on the plan to happen to itself? No, you got to get to work. That means whatever it takes to get that plan off the ground, then that means you got to get to it. If you got to wake up at 5 a.m., if you got to wake up at 6 a.m., and then you don't, babe, you might not see your bed again till 11 p.m. or 12 a.m., then so be it. It is what it is. You got to put in the work because you will never see a positive result if you don't put in the right amount of work. Number 3, what a boxer always do when it's time to get ready for a fight, they sacrifice. They sacrifice a lot. They sacrifice their diet. They sacrifice seeing their family. They sacrifice having sex with their wife or their significant other. They sacrifice a lot. They sacrifice a lot so they can be mentally prepared, they can be physically prepared. And that's the same with you. When we work on our plan, we got to sacrifice. We can't get nowhere if we ain't sacrificing. Whatever we got to give up. If we got to give up, cigarettes to save money, or we got to give up a little extra sleep so we can get up in the morning so we can be doing our 5 a.m. routine where we reading or we meditating or we planning our day. Whatever it may be, something is going to have to be sacrificed. You ain't going to get nowhere you want to get without sacrificing something. And a lot of times that is sacrificing stuff that we want to do but we necessarily don't need to do. So you got to take it, when it comes to sacrifice, look at the stuff like that you may be enjoying that you necessarily don't need right now that you can live without, or and this is the thing about sacrifice. Most of the things we sacrifice is going to still be there, once we reach our goals, except when it comes to like family and stuff like that. Don't ever sacrifice your time with your family or nothing like that, because at the end of the day, that's what we always working for. But besides that, most of the things that we sacrifice is always going to be there. But we will never see the end of our goals, or we'll never reach them goals if we ain't willing to sacrifice something. And number 4, the last thing I got is a boxer never quits. They never give up. You can see them getting beat up in the ring for 4 to 5 hours straight, but they ain't gonna quit. They ain't gonna throw in the towel. They ain't gonna not come out. And a lot of times when if a boxer is getting pulverized in the ring and they corner throw in the towel and quit for him, what do you see? They upset, you know. Or when a referee stop a fight and the boxer's still on his feet, what's the matter? He upset. I mean, because he still think he got a fighting chance. He's still standing up and he's still trying to fight. His heart ain't gonna let him quit. And that's the same thing with you. You can't just quit. You can't try something for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then just be like, oh, fuck it, it's not going away. I wanted to go. Or even if it's longer than that, you can't try something for 6 months to a year and just, you know, throw in the towel when you in the 8th round. You can't do that. You gotta always fight. You can't never give up. You will never hit your goals if you're gonna give up. And you never know when that turning point is, you know. You never know if you quitting a day before your big breakthrough, you know. So you never want to quit. You never want to give up. I'm gonna tell you a quick story outside of boxing about not giving up. Like, this is something I read, like, about the gold rush. When the gold rush was happening, everybody was moving out west and everybody was looking for the gold. And there's one guy, he was man the man. He was way ahead of everybody, you know. And he just got frustrated. He was out there for so long, he couldn't find no gold. He was digging and he couldn't find what he was looking for. So what did he do? He sold all his tools and all his equipment to somebody for almost nothing. And that next day, the guy that he sold that stuff to, he started mining right where that guy left off was, and he struck gold. So the moral to that story is you never want to quit, because you never know when the finish line is. When the finish line is, and you never know if you keep going, what tomorrow may bring. So when it comes to your life, to sum it all up, you gotta strategize, you gotta plan, you gotta train, you gotta sacrifice, you can never quit, and you gotta develop the mindset of a fighter, develop the mindset of a boxer when it comes to your life and your goals, and watch where you end up at.